Minnesota Vikings faithful, you are listening to the Purple People podcast. We thank you for joining us. We hope you're ready to talk Vikings football. We had a jam-packed show. I got Adam Carlson.
I am here.
I got Kyle Smith.
Hello, everyone.
And we are angry, but we are still going to talk Vikings football.
Yeah, we definitely were not looking forward to doing this show. At least I wasn't. Watching that game, I could not get myself to smile or laugh. Sometimes I watch a game and I get so upset about it that I can actually flip over to laughing about things, thinking it's hilarious, just completely going off. And that never happened. I was stuck in mad mode all night, so that's not good.
Twitter made it a little bit more entertaining there towards the end when everyone was just ragging on Trent Dilfer.
Oh, Trent Dilfer.
Thank you to our Twitter followers. That's at Purple People Podcast. At Purple People
I don't mind Berman. I can put up with Berman.
Mm-hmm.
But who decided Trent Dilfer?
You know what? I'll take anybody over Chris Collinsworth. He sounds like he's just constantly drinking vodka in his little cup over there.
I mean, I hate Joe Buck.
I was going to say, I actually don't mind Chris Collinsworth, but Joe Buck is like kryptonite to my ears. I just want to gouge
But
him
Dilfer's
out.
getting up there.
Yeah, Trent Dilfer, you turned the volume down on your TV set, but he just kept getting louder.
Who else do you guys like? Who's it, Barber? Yeah, you guys love him too. Oh my God. Ugh.
That's a callback.
Yeah.
How about when the 49ers were returning the interception and Chris Berman saw that the Vikings player was closing in on the guy that picked it off and he yelled, "Watch out," or "Look out." Really? Really? Look out.
I feel for them, though, a little bit, because it was their duty to make a bad football game sound entertaining.
Oh, it was brutal.
Yeah.
But we'll talk more about that game coming up. Let's get into the quick hits before we go into all our doom and gloom. So the Minnesota Vikings named a starting safety. A lot of people expected it to be Robert Blanton, but it turns out it was Andrew Sendejo. Be interesting to see how long he can hold on to that starting job.
I'm going to go ahead and say next week, maybe someone new. Probably some changes coming up on this defense. Just be my guess.
Mick Tingelhoff is scheduled to get his Hall of Fame ring versus the Chargers at home. This should be a pretty interesting game to attend. That will be on the 27th. So fans that are going to be in attendance for that home game against San Diego, you got something special to look forward to.
Adam?
I got to jump in real quick, guys.
Okay.
We forgot to tell everyone, this is episode number 169.
Oh, yes.
Mr. Adam Carlson with his genius, as always. This episode is called RawHyde.
RawHyde.
Bum, bum, bum.
See, I
don't know how many. That might be another one of those references that's too old for people.
No, that's a good one. And this is why it takes three of us. I can't believe we were so rearing and ready to go that we forgot the episode number and title.
It was a poop show. We're still mad drunk from the game last night. It's all right.
We are amped up and ready to talk about this game. We really are.
No, we're not.
I am. I'm getting going. I'm getting mad. My eyes are starting to bleed just thinking about it.
But I'm feeling better now because I'm talking about a Hall of Fame center for the Minnesota Vikings, and I love those offensive lines.
Pull him out of retirement? Can he still play?
The nice thing is that if you miss Mick Tingelhoff getting his ring at the Hall of Fame ceremony against the Chargers, you can see him again in the game against the Chiefs, where they'll be having members of all the not Hall of Fame teams, but all the Super Bowl teams that the Vikings have had in history. They're on hand during halftime. They're going to be honored as part of the 50th Super Bowl celebration.
That'll be fun. That will be fun. I love seeing alumni.
And that is the same weekend that the Traveling Hall of Fame is in Minneapolis, so get your tickets if you can.
StubHub.
Good place. Guess who the DraftKings is partners with now? The Minnesota Vikings. If you hadn't heard of DraftKings, you haven't been watching football because they've been sponsoring everything.
Can I say I hate DraftKings just for the amount of advertisements that they run?
I was going to say that you probably hate them just because they're fantasy football.
Not just too much advertisements. Like, we get it. We get it, right?
I admit I play FanDuel instead of the DraftKings. I'm not a very good Vikings supporter, but I did win $5 this week, so I'll take it.
There you go.
All right.
Someone
Silver linings, like you said. There's always a positive somewhere.
Silver linings, that's right. The Minnesota Vikings named their team captains. They are Teddy Bridgewater, Adrian Peterson, Chad Greenway, Everson Griffin. These gentlemen represent what the Vikings want to be, and hopefully what they will be. 3 young up-and-comers, in my opinion. Well, 2. I guess I can't put Adrian Peterson in the young and up-and-coming category. But still, good to see a combination of youth and experience there.
He's a spry 30-year-old. I mean, he's up and coming, right?
Maybe. Jarius Wright got a deal. This makes everybody happy, right?
Well,
absolutely.
Yes, actually.
4-year extension, $14.8 million. It's a little bit more than I thought they'd throw at him, considering his role with the team. But I understand wanting to hold on to him because he does offer a lot of different things for this squad. And heck, personally, I'm just glad he's going to be sticking around.
You guys know how I like when we take care of our own guys instead of always signing other free agents. So I like that. I'm a Jarius Wright supporter. I was a little worried, honestly, with all the receivers on the team, he was going to get lost in the shuffle. So it's nice to know that he is part of their long-term vision. Now, please, for the love of God, go produce on the field.
Speaking of that, Pro Football Focus thinks that Teddy Bridgewater is a top 15 quarterback in the NFL.
That must have been on Sunday.
It was. It indeed was.
Boy, we are salty. We are sponsored by Morton Salt today here at the show.
Oh, man.
Every time I'm obviously we're big supporters, but the only thing I could hear is all the trolls on the internet and all the people, like when I got to work today. I got there early. I was doing my thing, riding around the base, patrolling, doing all that. And when I got back to my section, everybody was like, "Oh, what's up, Teddy Bridgewater?" And that's all I can hear. I can just hear all the negativity in the back of my mind. It's so frustrating.
I admit, as soon as I finished watching the game and writing my review of the game over on the Viking Age, I went over and I turned on the Xbox and I immediately just started shooting people on Call of Duty.
Therapy. It's good for everyone.
It had to happen. It had to happen. Speaking of things that just aren't good, caught on tape were a group of 49ers fans beating down a Vikings fan after the game in San Francisco. And when I say beating down, I don't just mean, a punch in the face or two. These guys were pretty relentless, even kicking him when he was down and things like that. It was pretty disgusting.
Pretty horrible. Don't ever. I mean, guys, come on. Stay classy. Don't ever do stuff like that. I mean,
to be fair, we don't know if the Vikings fan did something to incite this kind of behavior.
Supposedly he was. You go on what you read. Don't know. Wasn't there. But be smart, everyone. Don't be calling out fans from other teams, or Vikings fans. Don't jump other people when they do stupid stuff like that. I mean, it's just everyone's at fault. Everyone, but yeah, I don't know. It's just dumb.
That happens too when you get a lot of people with testosterone and alcohol flowing around.
It's never a good combo. There was nothing good to come out of that. It was very hard to watch. It wouldn't matter what jersey anybody was wearing. Like you guys said, I can't believe that people's reaction now, instead of jumping in to help or stop it, is hold on, wait, let me get my video out. All right, cool. Go ahead. I'm going to put this on YouTube. Mm-hmm. Super irritating.
Now, some people think that the most disturbing thing about the entire video was the gentleman in the 00 Minnesota Vikings jersey that said Romo on the back.
Oh, maybe his last name is Romo. But I mean, who really cares? It's a video of a dude getting his head kicked. Like, I don't know.
He did take a pretty good kick to the head.
Just stay classy, people. It's sports ball. We all love our sports ball, but it's not that important. Like, don't
it's entertainment.
Do this dumb
really
stuff.
Is.
Really don't do it.
All right, so enough about that. I got sick watching it. I could only watch it once. I know a lot of people watched it many times. I couldn't do it. Speaking of things I couldn't watch more than once, I ain't watching that game again. But it is our duty to give away a game ball and name a donkey.
Well, who wants to start this one?
You guys want to? Let's do it backwards since this is such a negative show. I'm going to give my donkey away.
Okay.
I'm going to give my donkey away first, just to change it up and get all the negativity out of the room. And sorry, I'm going to generalize because if you guys haven't, for some odd reason, gotten an internet update or just been under a rock the last 24 hours, 48 by the time the show hits you, we sucked last night.
Yeah.
And as much as I want to blame the offensive line, at times they were good. At times there was a chance for Teddy. The defensive line, holy crap. I know RawHyde is a beast, but you get my donkey for this week. That kid came out and ran amok, made us look horrible. Thank God. That's the only thing I could say. We suck in primetime anyways. I don't know why. We just do. But thank God it was the 10 o'clock game because not a lot of people stayed up to watch that from what I hear. But I think – and Carlos by himself had like 168 yards.
Yep.
They had over 200 yards rushing. And I know the first thing, if any of you guys are true, listen to the coach, like get into it fans. You know Mike Zimmer is all about stopping the run, and we did not do that at all. And it was embarrassing.
And while we're at it, let's talk about Brian Robinson, who to me was the most disappointing of the night. He was up against who I consider to be one of the worst offensive linemen in the NFL, Eric Pierce, and he got absolutely just thrown around. This is a situation where he should have dominated. I know that at times he got help with chips from the running back or Vance McDonald or, with that kind of situation. I understand that. But when that happens, that should open up things on the other side for Everson Griffin. There should have been a much more consistent pressure. It was just sad. And the fact that run defense was what was pushed this entire offseason, preseason, training camp, run defense, stop of the run. That's what it was all about. That was the focus. And this is the result we got. That is not acceptable.
I have to do my plug real quick. I've said it before on other shows. I would have paid lots and lots of money to have been a fly on the wall after the game or today at practice. If you want to see what I think happened today, as I go through puberty on here, my apologies. The one thing about Mike Zimmer that floats around on YouTube, and I think they were playing, I don't know, I want to say Atlanta. It looked like Atlanta's dome. But Mike Zimmer, when he was the Cincy defensive coordinator, is like, this effing quarterback runs around. Keep him in the effing pocket. That's all I could think about last night. I must have said that like 30 times. Surprisingly, Cap didn't run around as much as I thought he was going to.
He didn't have to.
He had all the time in the world.
He still had 41 rushing yards.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive for a quarterback still. My donkey. I'll stick with the offensive line. Brandon Fusco.
Good choice.
What the heck?
Good choice.
I mean, Matt Khalil actually played a decent game.
Mm-hmm.
He was pretty solid. To be fair, I always show my love for Joe Berger. Joe Berger had a pretty bad game as well.
Mm-hmm.
And with him having his bad game and Fusco right next to him just struggling really badly, the middle of that offensive line just absolutely fell apart. So that's where my donkey goes.
I was also going to go offensive line, and I was going to go with TJ Clemmings.
Ooh.
For
the play.
Essentially sacking Teddy Bridgewater. I do not know what was going on with that. He was just standing around in the backfield, and then...
So here's what happened. The defensive end beats TJ Clemmings, who is playing right tackle. He gets around him, and instead of pursuing and helping to block or trying to clear things out for Teddy Bridgewater, TJ Clemmings stands up and stands still. Teddy Bridgewater is trying some fancy moves to get away. He spins, he rolls out, and who does he roll out and bump right into?
TJ Clemmings.
There was instantly, I'm not even kidding you, 45 seconds later, there was a meme out about that. That was pretty funny, too, I'm not going to lie.
Oh, yeah.
You could see the, I think it was the defensive end. I think it was. You could see him kind of pat him on the head, and he's just laughing from San Francisco because they totally saved him a sack on that one.
And let's be honest, I think Teddy Bridgewater would have got away from them.
Mm-hmm. That was TJ Clemmings' welcome to the NFL moment.
He looked like a rookie.
Yes, he totally looked like a rookie. I said I was going to give it to him and then spent all that time talking about it anyway, so I basically did. But I'm going to give out another one. This is who I was actually going to go with. Norv Turner. I'm going to get my actual donkey award
Fair enough.
for the week.
Norv
Turner. He outthought himself in this game plan. Just pure and simple. There was no rhyme or reason or flow to any of it. They couldn't get going. It seemed like they had Adrian running out of a traditional set with a fullback part of the time, and then other times where he wasn't, and that's just killed momentum. There were times where I felt like Adrian should have been on the field. He wasn't on the field.
Let's talk a little bit about that, because there's some major problems there.
Yeah,
we know that Adrian Peterson is a bad run blocker. We know that.
Yeah, he had a couple decent blocks, though.
He did. He picked up a couple, but overall it was still disappointing.
But it's not his strong suit, so I don't...
Now, with him running the ball out of the eye compared to shotgun...
Which was a disaster.
The reason why they were running out of shotgun is because Teddy Bridgewater didn't have enough time under center to drop back. So they were put in a situation where if they want to run with Adrian and get in the I formation, the Niners are going to line up and stack the box because they know it's going to be a run.
Mm-hmm.
The problem with that is that Norv Turner should be creative enough of an offensive coordinator, piece something together. He tried a couple things. He tried a couple passes out to the flat, a couple screens to try to loosen things up. The 49ers were just relentless. That defense was incredible.
They were keyed into whatever the Vikings were trying to do. They just seemed to be a step ahead of them the entire game. And That, to me, is what is the most frustrating, is because I felt like we spent all that time with previous coaching staffs where we got out-coached. And I had hoped that we had been past the point where we would be out-coached. But again, you went into this one, and it was like we were out-coached offensively and defensively the entire game, and it's frustrating.
Yeah, it's true.
It's kind of like what Teddy said. I totally agree in his post-game. He said this is not the 2015 Vikings, so I just want to let you get that. I don't think it was. I don't think it is. I don't think it's going to be. But given all the losses that San Francisco had, dude, they still have a stacked roster. And they even lost Reggie Bush last night. He was looking great for the couple of plays he was in there.
People forgot about all the talent they had, and they were focused on the older guys.
Yeah, we all sold the 49ers short. If anyone who listened to K-Fan before the game, Paul Allen and his crew, all that they were talking about was how we were just going to cream the 49ers. And that's what we all said, too, is that we're going to lay a 40-burger down on them, and it's going to be our statement game. And, boy, it went the opposite way for this team.
Yeah, it definitely went backwards, that's for sure. Game balls, let's have some fun.
All right. This was pretty hard. I'm going to leave I was going to give it to Anthony Barr. I'm so glad to have that dude back.
He had a good game.
I'll let one of you guys take that one. My semi-surprise is Mr. Mike Wallace. You know how we were kind of bitching and moaning in the preseason, hoping he would catch some balls? Well, he led in receptions and yards last night for the limited amount of completions and passing we did last night. And newsflash, I'm going to be that salty fan. I'm still salty from 2009, so I can definitely still salty from freshman last night. That was a touchdown. Poor call by the referees. Even Mr. Trent Dilfer, with his extensive, awesome knowledge, agreed.
If Mike Wallace had both arms available to catch that football.
Yes, so that would have been a Sports Center top 10 chuck of a play, in my opinion. Mr. Mike Wallace, 6 receptions, 63 yards, had a nice one of 19 yards for his longest catch. He was definitely
having 7 targets, just like Kyle Rudolph.
Yeah, it was fantastic. He's showing up and he's getting open, and it didn't look like a lot in the preseason that him and Teddy were gelling just because they didn't really have a huge connection. But he came to play last night, and I was very, very excited about that, considering the purse that we gave him for it. But it's really, really cool, and I'm glad that he played with heart. Not saying the team didn't play with heart, but I was very surprised. Very surprised. Good job, Mike Wallace.
There you go. I'll jump in next. My game ball goes to Anderson Dejo. Big special teams play, nice blocked field goal that just absolutely could have changed the momentum of this game. A nice return after it. That wasn't Sendejo, though. That was, I believe it was Sherrill.
It was Marcus Sherrill's.
Yes. Sendejo also ended the game with 3 total tackles, all 3 solo tackles. So whatever Andrew Sendejo is doing there at safety, he's doing a pretty good job, but there's still some occasions of those long runs where he's got to play more disciplined. He can't get eaten up by that second level. So even though he's getting my game ball, there is room for improvement still. I like what I see from Andrew Sendejo, and I especially on special teams, especially.
I'm going to piggyback off from Kyle Smith here for just a moment, and then I'm going to do my game ball. I thought it would be fun to kind of compare Greg Jennings and Mike Wallace this week, just because a lot of people, myself included too, we wanted to see Greg Jennings stick around. So it's kind of interesting. I want to kind of compare their stats a little bit on what they had. Mike Wallace had 6 receptions for 63 yards, no touchdowns, and the long for 19 yards. Meanwhile, over in Miami, Greg Jennings had 3 receptions for 29 yards, 0 touchdowns, with a long of 11. So just kind of an interesting comparison between the two, since we essentially switched out Greg Jennings for Mike Wallace. Anyway, my game ball, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give it to Harrison Smith. Dirty Harry, the hitman, Harrison Smith, for that awesome but completely legal hit that he put on Colin Kaepernick. That is awesome. Yes. This dude is ferocious. Perfect technique on it, extremely hard. I love it. I love the intensity that he plays with. I hope to see, as with the rest of the team, more improvement from him as the weeks go by. But yeah, Harrison Smith, off to a decent enough start for the team. Love the hit.
It wasn't just that hit either. He also had 9 total tackles, 5 of them solo. He actually intimidated Colin Kaepernick after that hit, to where anytime Kaepernick saw that number 22 going, Kaepernick just laid down. It was hilarious to watch.
I mean, I wouldn't want to get hit by Harrison Smith after that one.
Can I say something for your game ball, too? If that was any other than a freaking 6'8", tall, slender, super huge built quarterback, I mean, I'm just saying, I think somebody would have taken a nap. That was an awesome hit.
Yeah, that's the kind of hit that can knock someone out of a game.
Oh, Jesus.
Colin Kaepernick is a physical specimen, if you guys don't know. He's very tall and very lean. He can take a hit. And I'm very surprised he got up as fast as he did, because if that would have been, oh, my God, let's take Peyton Manning. We're going to play him in a couple weeks. If Harrison Smith hits Peyton Manning like that, I don't think he's getting up that quick. So I give Colin where credit's due, but I love the game ball choice, Mr. West.
Well, thank you.
Absolutely. So into the game review, we had Teddy Bridgewater. Everyone tuned in to see how Teddy was going to do.
Too much time for Teddy. Didn't quite work out.
A lot of doom and gloom on the internet about Teddy. He didn't throw any touchdowns. He had 1 interception that he got while facing a lot of pressure. He was sacked 5 times for 54 yards. But overall, I don't think he had a horrible game, and it was by far not his worst performance. Those have come in the past against the Detroit Lions, who he will play next week.
It was and I thank you for starting it out with the Teddy statement, Adam, because it was a very gritty game that he had to play. I mean, there was constant pressure in his face. Yeah, he had some overthrows, he had some underthrows, but there was some, the whole game was up and down like that.
He came out early with some real jitters.
Yes. And, but overall, I was, it's not as bad as what some of the real negative Nellies out there will have you believe. Like, it was, if you'd have put Ponder in that situation, it would have been a heck of a lot worse.
What's weird is people get on Teddy Bridgewater about this performance, but then they'll watch Johnny Football turn the ball over 3 times, and they'll have no problem saying, oh, he threw a touchdown, so that's okay. They focus on the good instead of the bad. I know it's easier to focus on the bad when it's your own team.
You know what's great about all that, too? The best thing that happened last night was, despite all the pressure, because there were a couple of good times where he could have capitalized a little better, and he already said that at the end of the show, or the end of the presser. He didn't get hurt, and they had people in his face at least half the night. So I'm just glad he didn't get hurt. That's my main takeaway from that.
Yeah, he can't keep getting sacked 5 times a game.
He's a smart
That just can't
quarterback.
happen.
He is a smart quarterback because you can tell he is aware of, the plays and where players are supposed to be. They even mentioned it on the telecast where he was in the process of going down and he kind of flips the ball out to, I forget who it was, one of the running backs or something in front of him.
Asiata was a fantastic. I thought he got sacked.
It should have been
He did get. They called it a sack.
Well, there you go. But he was still able to get the ball out and into someone's hands because he knows, what's going on in the play.
Yeah, they gave him forward yardage on that, and they called it a sack. They didn't call it an incomplete pass.
I really believe, and we got to remember that this is still an incredibly young team, but I think that, I know Teddy is going to be fine. Like, this was his bad game for the year. He'll come back. We'll get it taken care of. It'll be okay.
I sure hope you're right, because, man, there's a lot of football left to be played this season. Now, off to the running backs. This is where we're going to have some fun.
I'm going to start it out. 4 carries for Adrian Peterson in the first half is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I don't care what the other defense is doing. Mm-hmm. Adrian can carry this team. You put it on his shoulders, Adrian can carry it. Actually, I thought he looked fine. He just was not given enough of an opportunity. He only had 10 rushing attempts. Yeah, he had some receiving yardage, and he looked decent when he was out there, but you've got to get Adrian involved in the game more. Got to do it.
You know what's crazy is I was super happy with the signing of Norm Turner. But
no,
I'm not by any means giving up on him, so nobody think that, because I think he's a genius when it comes to being a coordinator like that. But you study tape on anybody. Now, everybody knows who AP is. You got to look and see what his strengths are. I don't like him coming out of the shotgun, despite it helps Teddy out a lot too. But you got to give him – you just got to feed it to him. He's played before where people are stacking 8 in a box. I have faith in him to figure it out. But the other thing, too, is now this is Jay Cutler, so everybody bear with me. But when AP got his MVP a couple years ago, on the number one players thing, the top 100, they have an audio clip as one of my favorites. And we were playing the Bears, and we were taking the brakes off of him. And he goes, "Man, I'd feed that guy 40 times a game." I mean,
yeah,
it's pretty simple. I get the first play. You want to fake it like you're going to hand it to him because they kind of expect you're going to give it to AP. But for him not to get it at all in the first series, are you kidding me? I was baffled last night that it was only 10.
I think Norv got a little too fancy.
Like I said, the reason why I gave him my donkey, they overthought this too much. And now Zimmer did clarify a little bit in the press conference is that they had some designed plays, some runs for Adrian that they checked out of at the line based on what the defense was showing them. But still, you got to have more faith in Adrian. I also think a little bit of this is we had 5 preseason games, and one of those he should have got a couple carries in him. You know that? Just to get
I'm not sure of that.
I really do think that he should have got it. Just to get a little bit of the stutter step and the jitter and the rust out of it. Like, he's not going to break. He'd be fine. He's Adrian. He's a Terminator. He's got the Terminator skeleton underneath that.
It was just frustrating. You want to see him get the ball more, but at the same time, you don't want to just. It's like you said. You want to be complex, but you don't want to be too complex. Mm-hmm. And I think I totally. That's the nail on the head. I think we were being a little too complex last night. We ended up shooting ourselves in the foot offensively.
And the game was never far enough out of hand that they should have completely abandoned the run, because for a good long time it was 7-0.
Yeah.
7-0, 10-3.
Yeah, it was never really until it got, late in the fourth quarter or whatever. Then it's out.
But let's be honest, 10-3 even seemed out of reach.
The way the team was playing, yes, it did.
We had Jerick McKinnon also came in the game, ran the ball 3 times for 20 yards. Matt Asiata once for 4. Teddy Bridgewater 3 scrambles for 16 yards.
I'm fine with the rotation of running backs a little bit like what they were doing. I think that's cool. Although, like I said, they just make sure you got to get Adrian going before you start getting clever and bringing in McKinnon and Asiata and whatever.
Well, they're coming up against the Lions' run defense that is really solid, so it'll be another huge challenge next week. Vikings wide receivers. We mentioned earlier that Mike Wallace and Kyle Rudolph tied for the most number of targets from Teddy Bridgewater with 7. Up next was Jarius Wright, who was targeted 4 times and caught only 1 on that deep pass, 27 yards. That's kind of sad to call 27 yards a deep pass, but why not? Let's go for it. But I think something that is overlooked is Adrian Peterson being better in the pass game. He caught all 3 of the targets that came his way for 21 yards. It's an easy way to pick up yards for him to get him the ball in space. There were a couple times where he got swallowed up in the backfield, but that happens. It does. Still, it's good to see a little bit of creativity.
The pass that he caught where he ended up taking half the 49ers defense with him.
That was awesome.
Yeah, that was awesome. It's like, can we just continue to do more of that? Like, just feed him the ball. Just feed him the ball. Good things will happen.
It's true. We did see a Cordero Patterson sighting.
Yeah, who cares?
1 target, 1 catch, 1 yard.
Woo, boy.
He did it.
All right. Next.
And they kicked it, I think every time, or did he have 1 kick return? Did he have 1?
He only got 1 to, I believe, actually kick to him.
The rest were just out of the back.
They're smarter than that. The league is smarter than that. I wouldn't kick it in the middle.
Yeah, the new kickoff rules make it way too easy for
kickers
to boom it right out the back.
Look, that's why it don't make sense to me to keep a guy. I was bummed out that Stephon Diggs wasn't active, and to me it didn't make sense. Like, you're gonna keep. Boy, people are gonna love me for this one. Why are you gonna keep Cordero Patterson active when you don't have faith in him to do anything in the passing game? And they've essentially removed, kick returns out of it just based on the fact that all of them go out of the back of the end zone. So he's very rarely going to get a shot in that. You might as well have Diggs active. At least he can make plays and knows the offense.
Well, I'm waiting for the game where we use him traditionally like we did with Percy in the backfield, swap him with AP, kind of like he did his rookie year. I'm waiting on that game because that's going to be fun to watch. But I 1,000% agree with you. Mm-hmm. I was bummed out Diggsy wasn't active, and I don't know, give him a shot to run one back.
Yeah, why not?
Who cares?
You call up Carolina, you call up one of these bad teams, and you go, hey, Cordero Patterson for an offensive lineman. Do it.
Yeah,
do it.
Why not?
You do it. Because we don't need 6 wide receivers. We don't need Cordero Patterson. We don't need him.
All right, defensive side of the ball. Now, don't cheat, guys. I got a trivia question for you.
Lay it on me.
Only 1 pass defended by the Minnesota Vikings defense. Who defended it?
Chris Cook.
Xavier Rhodes.
No. It was Anthony Barr.
Really?
Who also added 1 tackle for a loss and 12 total tackles leading the team.
12 tackles. Thank you. Thank God he's back.
Yeah, he is a monster.
Very big bright spot.
I know I say this a lot, but when the Minnesota Vikings drafted him, I was all trying to figure out what are they going to do with this guy. Are they really going to try to play a 4-3 or a 3-4 linebacker in a 3-4 system? And man, they are showing me that he can do anything that they want him to.
He's so big too. I love his athletic ability, but his size is probably my favorite thing about him. He's huge.
Absolutely massive, man. On the other hand, we had 1 total sack on the evening.
Split.
Yeah. Everson Griffin and Chad Greenway getting dibs on that one.
Can we talk about Chad Greenway for a minute, Adam?
Oh, no. That's never the way a good conversation starts.
Oh,
it's like when you come home and the girlfriend says, we gotta talk.
We gotta talk about Chad Greenway. I love Chad Greenway, but...
Me too. He's awesome. Great guy.
Looked like a liability, because he was a liability the entire game, and I mean, you can talk till you're blue in the face about veteran presence and blah, blah, blah. We love you, Chad, but
But he's tough and smart.
he is, but it's really looking like it's time to get to get some of these younger guys out there on the field. Is it gonna be any worse than what happened last night? Is it? I'm serious question. Is it?
I gotta admit, I'd like to see Gerald Hodges or Audie Cole getting plugged in there and see what happens.
Why not?
Shout out to Audie Cole, by the way.
Yeah, nice recovery on that fumble.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, welcome to the NFL, rugby. I was sick of hearing about it, sick of seeing that guy's freaking life story last night, by the way.
What about big inflatable kangaroo?
I'd rather see that.
The fans in the audience having the big kangaroo, hey, dancing with it.
It's actually, you guys are such Debbie Downers. That is actually a really cool story. Yes, I was tired of hearing about it too, but I mean,
it's a great story. I just got sick of seeing the kangaroo.
I mean, come on, it's cool, right? At least
it is cool. Hey, rugby is the most respectable sport, in my opinion, next to hockey.
Tough guys.
Hey, at least they went overseas and found a guy who made the team.
That's fair play.
Yeah.
I was just sick of seeing it, and when they talked about it today on Russillo and Cannell, they were like, every red-blooded American was sick of hearing about this rugby thing, even though we're like, oh, that's kind of cool. When he muffed that punt, it's like, 90% of everyone was doing the fist pump in their brains. Yes. Welcome to the NFL, and you hit the nail on the head for that. I was too.
My Twitter followers, that was me who, after he did that, I was the one that tweeted out, someone forgot what sport he was playing.
Yeah, it's true. In rugby, you make a play for that ball. In the NFL, you do not.
Yeah.
When we're talking about older players, because we were talking about Chad Greenway, Terrence Newman, I thought had a solid game.
Yes, he did. Good in run support. Was a little surprised.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are down on Terrence Newman because they wanted the rookie to start and be able to come in and play, and Trey Waynes is not there.
I have a funny comment on that. This game was so bad, everyone forgot to talk about the fact that we didn't see anything from Trey Waynes.
It would have been worse. I feel like it would have been worse if you
I didn't see anything on Twitter. People complaining about Trey Waynes.
No, it made everybody forget about it.
So hey, there's a positive.
But that's why Terrence Newman was brought in. He's that placeholder. He's there until hopefully Trey Waynes can be ready to roll and get things done. He's a valuable piece. He really is.
He proved that he really understands Mike Zimmer's defense and is a good testament for just being in the right position and knowing your scheme and being out there. I like Terrence Newman. I'm glad we picked him up.
And let's say one more thing here. ESPN scoring system. How can you not have Harrison Smith credited with a quarterback hit? For that hit, he should have got 3. Should be 3 with an asterisk saying how.
I had like 10. I had 10 of my friends on Facebook. Shout out to all of you that reposted it. I think it was the NFL Vines or whatever. They immediately was like, dude, Kaepernick got lit up, and everybody was like, oh man, I'm gonna share the hell out of that.
Oh yeah, that got circulated fast.
It's fantastic.
I feel like that was one of 2 or 3 moments in the game that should have shifted momentum to our side, but for some reason didn't. You know that?
To be fair, that moment could have been major because after that, even before that a little bit, Colin Kaepernick just didn't seem to be in the right set of mind in the passing game. Mm-hmm. Kaepernick did not have a great game. He came out and he was 17 for 26, averaging 6.3 yards of completion, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Really not an impressive game, and I thought that Colin Kaepernick had the potential to burn this Vikings defense a lot worse than he did.
Mm-hmm. Hey, you know what, though? We've always had problems with running quarterbacks for a while now in Minnesota. So, honestly, I'm not that surprised that we had problems with Colin Kaepernick.
But the Vikings really didn't. The problem came with Carlos Hyde, who this episode's named after. 168 yards on 26 carries and 2 touchdowns. The current NFL leader in rushing. And let's not discredit Carlos Hyde. We're not saying that Carlos Hyde is a bad running back that took advantage of a bad Vikings team.
He had some
Carlos
really
Hyde
good
has
moves.
a ton of talent, and that spin move is something that you'd see on Madden.
Yeah, I was just going to say, that spin move was hellacious that he put on Everson Griffin.
Yeah, he is a stud.
Makes me so sad.
Why does it make you sad?
It was just hard to watch.
I
was like, oh, nope, this is it. We're going to do a goal line stand. He's going to, we'll be within the 5. They'll have to kick a field goal. And there's 53.5 yards of width on the field, and he damn sure used the rest of it to go left.
The wrong 28 had the better performance for us. Like, really, if you were to come to me, before the game and say one of these players is going to have 168 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns, the other one will have 31. Guess who is who? I'd say, Adrian, 168 and 2 touchdowns, but...
Well, if I remember right, before this game we predicted whether or not Adrian would have 90 or more yards rushing, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Let's not talk about that.
No?
Let's talk about fantasy football and how he got me like 5.5 points.
Oh.
Thanks, Adrian. You were my first pick, you jerk.
Oh, Adrian.
He's like, bro, I only got 10 carries. What do you want me to do?
Yeah.
Overall, San Francisco really spread the ball around. Vernon Davis, Garrett Selleck, who, to be honest, I thought it was Brent Selleck for a minute, and I was like, what happened here? Did he just switch jerseys? What's going on? So, sorry, Garrett Selleck. I don't really know who you are. But Anquan Bolden, Carlos Hyde, the ball just really got passed around a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good diversity, I guess, for the 49ers. But overall, I think the only place that the Vikings won this game was on special teams.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And even that...
And that is hard because,
it's a little, because
Blair Walsh missed a field goal.
Jeff Locke had a couple bad punts again.
He had one poor punt.
Yeah.
But that was, how many times do you have to punt that? Was that his 3rd try, or was that just his 2nd?
I want to say it was his 2nd.
Because it was a play where I think that the play they should have taken what was on the field. Wait, no, that was a good play. That was where it actually came all the way back the 2nd time, and there was a penalty that pushed them back really far. So that was a return touchdown that got saved by a penalty. So
there was
I was just gonna say that the penalties, that's a positive from this game. Now, I expected a lot of flags for it being the first game, but the score could have been a lot worse. In my opinion, the score could have been at least 7 to 10 points higher and a bigger gap, especially with that return that they had. Thank God, I forget who it was, but they tripped up Trey Waynes, and it was ugly. It was pretty blatant, but I agree with the giving a little kudos to special teams. I'll tell you something to go on a rant, a 10-second rant here. Blair Walsh, you better get your crap together. Because if you do this the whole season, I promise you we're going to find another kicker.
And let's be honest, we wanted to see Blair try that 63-yarder, even though we knew it probably wasn't.
Oh yeah. I wanted to see the Blair Walsh of his rookie year. No.
Because if he could have connected on that, I think that things would have just been great for him.
And they did absolutely no favors with the timeouts and the going for it and then bringing the field goal unit back out and then calling a timeout and then going for it again. That was just some really, really bad game management. There was a couple points in the game where I was like, ugh, do we have the ghost of Leslie Frazier out here managing this? Because this is not what I have come to expect from Mike Zimmer. And that's where my rant about being outcoached.
At one point I posted about whether or not it was 2011 again.
Yeah, that was some bad stuff.
And I don't remember much of 2011. The Vikings had me drunk through most of the football season. So that was rough.
That was a 3-13 year.
But hey,
I give you
onward and upwards, right?
I can give you guys one stat as to the reason why we lost. Look at this: 3rd down efficiency, 11%.
Yeah.
We were 1 for 9 on third downs.
And this was an area where the Vikings struggled during the preseason, too, is picking up those third down conversions.
We've struggled on third down for years now. It is like our Achilles. Third downs for this team, we might as well punt. I mean, right?
Come on, man. You're going a little far now.
Well, at 11%, I mean, Jesus.
That's pretty god-awful.
Yeah, that's horrendous. 49ers were at 41%.
Horrendous.
Mm-hmm.
That was a great link you said, too. That was fantastic.
All right, so next week the Vikings will be playing at home against the Detroit Lions at noon Central Time on your Fox channel. I don't know if you guys will be tuning in to watch it because I don't know if you guys like watching that kind of stuff. Hopefully not week to back, because I don't want to watch another game like that back to back. And to be honest, I don't know if I could take it, but I will be tuning in and I will be watching because I have faith that this Minnesota Vikings team can maybe not turn things around, but at least look like a better team.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, segue to that. I'll just jump in front and do it right now. My bold statement is not going to tell you that we're going to turn around and Teddy's going to have a perfect passer rating and we're going to get 4 interceptions and Adrian's going to run for 200 yards. It's not going to come out of my mouth. Night and day difference from today's game for the rest of the season. And I love my favorite part of the entire show is what Adam said. This was not all Teddy's fault, and I don't think this was a horrible game from him. It wasn't good, but given what he was given and what he had to work with, I think he did fine. Minus the interception, I think he did pretty well. I'm going to say for my bold statement is you will see a more relaxed, a more comfortable, and we all three hope a more Adrian-based Vikings team come Sunday. Plus, we'll be at home. I know the fans will be fired up, but
will they?
It'll be the home game. They'll have no choice, and it's not freezing outside, so that's good.
To be fair, the fans are usually really hopping for the home opener.
Mm-hmm.
You know what's good too? Nobody talks about it as much because they did get Haloti Ngata, which is a good fill-in, but Detroit lost their best player. That's always a good thing for anybody that's playing them. They're not really traditionally that good on the road. And I hate to knock on wood. I don't want to put any more pressure on us. God knows we don't need that. They gave a game away to the Chargers Sunday. They gave that game away.
They're going to be hungry.
They will be hungry. However, let's get it. Let me spin this around too. Last year, we opened up the season, blew the Rams out of the water. What happened by the third game? We were 1-2.
Yeah.
Spin it around the other way. By the third week, would you guys be that disappointed if we were 2-1 and we bounced back? No. Keep things in perspective. Don't get ahead of yourself. Don't just abandon ship after one horrible primetime game.
Now, there was some concern about Matt Stafford's availability for this game, but he has assured everyone that he will be fine and ready to go. So expect a really good Detroit Lions team to come in. And Amir Abdullah, you might not have heard his name a lot, but man, this kid is going to really tear up the Vikings the same way RawHyde did if the Vikings don't change something about that run defense.
It's pretty good.
I would not want to be a member of the Minnesota Vikings and have to watch game review with Mike Zimmer in the same room. See,
here's the deal, though, because I like Amir Abdullah, I do. And as much as I'm a Vikings fan, in my FanDuel league, I've got 2 FanDuel leagues on there. I have Amir Abdullah in both of them. Because the Vikings have shown me that there's no way that they can stop him.
Hope you're wrong, but until they show otherwise, kind of got to agree with you, Adam.
It hurts to say it really does.
Prove us wrong. Go out there, prove us wrong. At the expense of Adam Carlson's fantasy football team. Prove us wrong, Minnesota.
All right, so for our question of the week, which turns out to be an absolutely horrible question of the week considering what happened, I asked you guys who will be the player of the game against the San Francisco 49ers.
Oh, how'd that go?
Not good. Not good at all. We got some negative responses, and especially the ones that came after the game. But Brandon Alice says that he wanted it to be Charles Johnson or Kyle Rudolph, but we'll go with Everson Griffin, which normally I'd say, yeah, it's a pretty safe pick. Meanwhile, Corbin Johnson says Adrian Peterson, and Tommy Gunn says that Adrian Peterson will not have over 65 yards rushing this game, but that McKinnon and Asiata will combine for some major yardage.
Well, he was half right.
Matt Massey also went with Adrian Peterson. Vikings fans very optimistic about Adrian Peterson. They got to be kind of disappointed with the results from Monday's game, but like we said, it's early in the season. I'm sure that many adjustments will be made between now and even next week. So who knows? Maybe we'll see a completely different offensive attack plan. Next week, what I'm asking you guys is, can the Vikings rebound and show the potential that we believe this team has? I know that one big loss can put a lot of doom and gloom in the Vikings fan base. Personally, I went there myself. Things got a little dark for a little while, but that's okay. I'm back out in the light. I'm trying to be a fan again. I'm trying to relax and let myself know it's 1 week. It's not that big a deal. But is this a major problem? Can the Vikings fix this run defense? Can Teddy Bridgewater shake the jitters or whatever's going on there? Can the offensive line come together and block nicely for Adrian Peterson? Can these things happen so that the Vikings can be the team that we all thought could have been a wild card team? Let us know.
Very well said.
In the meantime, the Survival League's going pretty good over there. We've got the competition's going on for a Minnesota Vikings jersey. We had about a third of our people playing the game have an incorrect response, so we are well on our way to maybe giving away this jersey. So if you're a part of that league, feel free to leave a comment in the box there. I'll be checking it out on a regular basis. And may the best man win, like usual.
Yeah, really cool. Hope you guys are having fun with the giveaway contest we're doing. It's really cool. We need to.
I think so.
We need to think up more ways we can do fun stuff like that. That's really cool. I like the interaction like that. That's neat.
I'll tell you what. Speaking of interaction and fun stuff, shout out to everyone. Kyle usually runs the Twitter page. I jump on there from time to time, especially on game day. Everyone is active. Mm-hmm. Thank you guys for all the messages on Facebook, especially all the comments when Adam and I throw up a link or a status up there or a picture. And Twitter, you guys were excellent. You guys get an A+ grade for the week on Twitter for all the reaction and, you know, just the interaction as well.
Yeah, it's always fun to see a different point of view.
Mm-hmm.
Because let's be honest, a lot of us get set in what we think. And to see things from a different point of view is nice. I mean, we had people complaining about Terrence Newman, to people whining about Chad Greenway, to people praising Anthony Barr. And it's so nice to see people taking a chance and going on Twitter to post their feelings about the game, knowing that the criticism could be out there. We love that. We love that. Be bold, have fun.
I'm a big fan. I just want to say thanks, and can't say it on there because we like to keep the show good enough for your kids to be riding around in the car. But Kyle Smith gets the update of the week from the podcast page. I just want to let you know that, sir. It was the best update of the week. I'll have to give it to you offline. But it was very, very entertaining from last night's game.
Yeah, if you don't follow us, head on over at Purple People Pod on the Twitter. We got Facebook rocking. It is Purple People Podcast on Facebook. And as usual, you know, we love talking Vikings football. Do you guys have anything else you want to end with this week?
No.
Yeah, go ahead, Kyle. Go ahead.
I got worked up on this week's show. And decompress here for a little bit. Like, you guys listening, you all get watch the game and get worked up for it once. We gotta do this twice. We worked up over it twice now.
This is my third time.
Third time for Adam. Adam writes the articles over on the Viking page.
And I probably have to revisit again tomorrow, which is going to be awesome.
Everybody, take my bold statement from the week and just take a breath. Woosah. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be fine. We're historically not good in prime time. All right. And I'm sure if you guys have watched any football with us from the last 17 games that we've had with this coach, you will understand that this is not acceptable. So there will be adjustments come Sunday. And we're at home. Be positive. It's going to be a good game Sunday.
But before we end the show, which one of you jokers was it that said that Adrian was going to beat the rushing record?
Not me.
The quiet guy over there, I see.
I don't remember saying that. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, somebody from our Facebook page will bring that up, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, I'm sure someone with a good memory will let us know.
Hey, you know what? You got to aim for the stars, I guess.
Exactly.
True.
He'll do it next week.
Nice.
They'll figure out that this line can't block, and our only hope is to just give the ball to Adrian. So we'll run like the Tim Tebow offense or something.
You know what? That'll be my projection, not for a specific game. Here's my bold statement of the year. At some point in the year, the line's going to get so bad, Adrian's going to break the rushing attempt per game. That's something that seems kind of out there, but not too far away. If it keeps going like this.
I follow Matt Burke on Twitter, and so he retweeted out someone sent him a message asking if he would come back and play offensive line for the Minnesota Vikings for us this week. And I'm like, well,
nice.
You know what?
Couldn't Hoyt.
Yeah.
No, but seriously, are you available?
Yeah, like really, Matt Burke, can you come out and help us? Like, please, for the love of Pete, we need you.
Well, on that note, I would like to thank everyone for listening. I already gave out the site socials, so head on over, conversate with us there. Check me out on the Viking Age. Check out Kyle West's photography.
Undead walking.
Oh yeah. And if you see a purple Scoldger in the street, give him a big thumbs up.
Yeah.
In the meantime, stay classy, Minnesota.